Hello everyone, I'm Dennis from Boulder Sounds. I'll be giving you a short demonstration in this video of the Tweakable Typewriter sample library and how you assign IR convolution send effects to the different articulations that we've recorded. So what you see on your screen right now is the Smith Corona. I'm just going to give you a quick overview as to how this works, and then what I'll do is I'll load up a sequence and we'll go through the sequence and show you what I've done to it to create it. So this is the front page of the Smith Corona. Go down to the drop-down menu on the bottom right-hand part of the graphic, and we see something that says back page. Click on that. That takes you to the back page. The back page is really where all the action is. And you can see we have conditions, a settings column, group effects. We're going to be spending most of our time here with the send effects. And I'll show you how that works. So just simply, how are we going to send a specific IR effect to one articulation? Well, all I have to do is this. I'm going to play a key, and it shows me on the left side under selections, I'm using key 1, and it shows to the right of that, it's round robin number 11, and if I hit it again, it goes to round robin number 1, so there's 11 round robins, and we have 2 of these keys set up on C2 and D2, so you can alternate back and forth between them quickly to do some convincing sounding typing. And you'll also notice there's a release sample. When I release my finger from the keyboard, there's the release. So when you really type, you get this, right? It releases right away. But we want to have rhythmic control over it. So that's why that's set up that way. So just very briefly, what about on this first keystroke? How do I send an IR convolution to that? So I go to the send effects, and all I have to do is spin this knob. I'm going to take it up to almost 12 o'clock. And you see below it, it says send convolution number 1. And we have a category. It's in the instruments category, and you can see the other categories displayed there. And then off to the right is the type from that category. And right now, we have it on a piano sample. So here's the sound we get. Now below that, we can edit the IR convolution. We can change the size, pre-delay, high-pass filter, low-pass filter, and so on. So what if I want to do the other keystroke, which is now dry, right? I want to send that to a different IR convolution. So I'll use convolution number 2. I'll just crank up this knob, and you can see below, automatically it goes to a different folder. It goes to the drum filter reverb folder, and the sound is Baja 500. Right, so now I have 2 totally different IR effects on these 2 different articulations. Okay, let's find another sound. Okay, there's the bell. So again, I've used convolutions 1 and 2. How about if I use convolution 3? Let's see what we have there. We have a special effect category. The sound is called zipper up. Okay, so now we have this. So what if I want to run that zipper up, I want to precede it with the piano IR convolution? Well, I just hit that key again and it automatically selects it. So it's showing you the bell is selected here in selections. And then I just turn up the convolution number 1, and now we'll hear some piano and then the zipper up. Right, in combination. If I want to add all 3 convolutions, turn up convolution number 2. Okay, so in a nutshell, that's how simple it is. And there's a great deal more editing you can do than this, but that's just a quick overview. And now let me show you a sequence that I did and how it was set up to demonstrate this idea. Okay, so let's just go through the sequence slowly. We'll check out the different articulations and what kind of IR sends or editing has been applied to those. Okay, so that first sound you're hearing As you can see in the selection column, it's a shift key. And if you look over here in the group effects and you look at the sends, no IR sends are being used. However, we are using the transient effect, which I'll talk about in another video. So for right now, we'll just move on until we have something that uses the IR sends. Okay, so you're hearing the keys typing there. So the first sound you hear is key number 2. And you can see convolution number 1 is set almost at a little past 12 o'clock, which is pretty wet. How do we know what IR that is actually using? Well, you hold down your Alt key, click on that button, and below it, it says now send convolution number 1. It shows you the category, which is instruments. It's using a piano sample. And then you can edit the size of the IR, the pre-delay, high pass and low pass, if you wish. What about key number 2? Or excuse me, key number 1? Right, so there's key 1. It's using the same convolution, but it's a little drier. So we get this kind of wet, dry effect between the two keys. Okay, what do we have here? So there you can hear we have the bell. And notice in the settings column, that's tuned up 1 semitone, dropped in volume a little bit, in pan center. And what IR is it using? Well, it's using convolution number 2. It's set at minus 30 dB. If I want to see that, again, Alt-click on it. It shows you convolution number 2. It's instruments. It's a piano scratch. Okay? So let's go on. Okay, this one. That's the shift lock release. And notice it's not using any convolution, but it is using an EQ tweak where I kind of boosted up the mid-range a little bit. Let's move on. Okay, this kind of triplet rhythm, these are kind of cool sounds. What is the first one? It's paper roll number 2. You can see that in the selections column. In the settings, it's tuned down minus 4 semitones, dropped down minus 9 dB. It's using convolution number 4. Alt-click on that. Let's see what that is. It's from the household category. It's a big pot. So this sound, oops, which is at F4. If you want to hear that a little bit wetter, just to hear the convolution more clearly. Right? And then what is this one right above it? That's also a paper roll number 3. It's using the same convolution, but it's a little bit drier. So we get this wet, dry effect. What about this down here? What is this? That's a shift lock. It's tuned down minus 10 semitones. Excuse me. Volume is dropped a little bit. It's using a compressor. Okay, so there's no IR effect there. So when we put all that together, okay, next section. What is this? High stuff. Yeah, I like this sample. This is a spacing switch. So on the typewriter, you want to change from, single spacing to double spacing, etc. And as you can see, it uses an EQ. I probably just boosted the highs just a little bit, and it's using convolution number 4. Let's all click on that and see what that is. Well, it's still the big pot. Apparently, I like that. Big pot. Okay. So let's move on to this sound. So what that is, that's a carriage return. And notice here, there's a round robin freeze button turned on. What that does is it stops the round robin process, and it enables you to just trigger that one sample every single time, because some round robins might have a very slight different length, different character, and you might want that one every single time regardless. You maybe don't want it to cycle through the round robins. So you can turn on that button to do just that. This is, you can see, is using convolution number 3, which is in the household category, and it's using a IR called Bada Boom. And so F3, and we'll bring up the send on the convolution so you can hear what Bada Boom actually is. It's kind of like a bass drum kind of sound. Okay. All after that. Again, we have a paper roll, we've already heard that, and down here we have the bell number 2, and again you can tell a piano IR convolution is being used there. Okay. There's a tabulator, and again I'm using the round robin freeze feature. I'm using convolution number 3, which is the bada boom, and right after that we have the shift key, and you can see I'm using the transient effect like before. So what is that? That's the shift lock release key, and there are no convolution IRs assigned to that, but I am using the EQ. Okay. There's shift lock release key again. Here we have some paper rolls. And here are the keys again. Let's just move forward. Right, there's the shift key again. Paper roll number 5. So this is a different paper roll sample. It's using convolution number 5. If I alt-click on that, it changes to convolution number 5 below it. It's a cabinet that I'm using, a cabinet sample, and it's a British cabinet 2x12. So that gives us this kind of, it gives the paper roll a little bit more crunchy kind of quality to it. These are sounds we've heard before. There's the bell. Alright, some more paper rolls. There's that triplet kind of sound we had before. Okay, so that just kind of gives you an idea of some of the ways you can assign those IR convolutions, create some really interesting sounds. Thanks for tuning in.